Now, the energy crisis in the country was top of the agenda at the ANC and EC meeting at the weekend. In fact, small businesses are reeling from the pressure caused by inconsistent power supply. There are amplified calls now for government to set up relief measures for the sector. The energy crisis movement believes availing generators to small businesses would go a long way in mitigating the challenges. For more on this, let's bring in the movement's spokesperson, that's Terzel Rasmus-Williams, who joins us via our video link this morning. Great to have you on the program, Terzel. Thanks very much indeed for making time. You're essentially calling on government to provide generators for small businesses. Take us through the thinking there.
Good morning, and thank you for welcoming Energy Crisis Movement. So just to let you know that Energy Crisis Movement, or ECM, we actually just a group of volunteers, everyday middle class of Africans. We are not an NGO, we're not an NPO. Our main focus is to call to action that the people demand that government and the politicians provide us with the energy that we need. And our reasoning behind what we said in our statement regarding small businesses is because we've had a lot of personal stories of people telling us who have small businesses like nail technicians, just ordinary people from small companies that cannot run their little business from their home and not making a living. So this is fundamentally affecting at the basic human level our necessity to survive. And that is where we're coming from as a movement. We've got no agenda in terms of capitalism, in terms of money, in terms of any of those things. We're just ordinary people bringing to light the problems that there are. And that's where we're at ECM.
It's certainly a shared problem, and many people will be sympathetic to calls for something to be done. I guess part of the question becomes, what are the sustainable solutions that we can bring to the fore as we wait for government to essentially be able to finally solve this crisis?
It's interesting that you say we must wait for government. I don't think we must wait for government. We are a group of people that's demanding government. We're not willing to wait anymore. Like our statement, we always end off our statement saying that we are hurtful, sorry for the word. But we are, as South African citizens. We need to tell government that we are not going to take up with their nonsense and the gaslighting of us. So to wait for government is, I would say, is an erroneous statement there, because we cannot wait anymore. So what we want to do is we want to let them know, as the electorate, that they're not doing their jobs. We need them to do their jobs. We don't want them. We need them. We literally are begging. We're begging them for energy at this point. And It's not anymore a thing of just being angry. I mean, we're beyond angry. We're desperate.
In fact, there were articles in yesterday's papers, Sunday papers, where people essentially were reflecting a very similar sentiment. And again, not to be dismissive of that at all, but in the midst of that frustration, I guess there's also this desperate need to try to think pragmatically about ways through which we can keep those small businesses going. If part of the solutions being put forward is that small generators need to be provided, help us think through how you reckon government will play a role in that.
Well, as the group of people, we have sort of a small executive we discussed, and we were saying that it maybe can work something like a grant, where you can apply for it. And something about if your turnover is more than $1 million for the year or something, then you don't qualify for government support, but because our thing is really the small businesses, the everyday man, because this thing is a human rights violation in my eyes and in our movement's eyes. The right to dignity, the right to life. I think these trivial questions, and I know people want a plan, they want an action plan, things must be put to paper. It's pointless us doing that when the people are not going to be executing it. And so that is what needs to be done. We can sit and come up with plans and write down we need to do A, B, C, D. But who's going to do it? We need to sit with people who's willing to actually put a plan to action. We can't be sitting around discussing this. As we even speaking now, we're wasting time.
Who do you reckon those people are then?
Small businesses, people like myself, housewives. I'm a housewife, I'm a student. People like yourself, everybody. We want to come together and come up with a solution together. That is what we're saying to government. We cannot anymore let them do the work, even the parliamentarians. Our previous statement, we were saying that even the politicians in parliament are problematic because they're sitting there in National Assembly and complaining, but what are they doing? They're also not doing anything. it's basically fundamental of doing something about it and working with us and allowing us to be with them and us holding them accountable and being transparent about what's really going on in this energy crisis. And so that's where I stand with that.
Fair enough.
We stand with that.
Sure. Parting shot from me. Part of the sentiments also being reflected in those articles I mentioned at the weekend was that a big, let's call it, way through which South Africans typically disadvantage themselves is that we're very good actually at finding solutions, ironically. We've done it when security systems in the country were failing, when the education system was going under, when health was going under. Typically, South Africans are resilient and they find alternative ways to go about their lives. The concern, of course, around that is that essentially the government gets off scot-free because of that. What's your response to that sentiment?
That's exactly why we actually started the movement. They're getting off scot-free. And we're tired. I'm tired of government getting scot-free. You know, I'm 31 years old, and I've been dealing and living with national blackouts. I'm not even calling it load shedding. It's too soft of a word. National rolling blackouts since I was 15. Half of my life. That makes me angry. And it should make everyone angry. And we should all be angry about this. We're not saying that we don't want to help and we don't want to, but we're asking government to work with us, to actually show they want to work for us. So it's not normal what we're going through. It is traumatic. And I just think that, you know, we need to do more as an electorate and actually get up and tell them because they are doing nothing. So we need to take our power back. This is all what it's about. It's not about the personalities in parliament, the personalities in executive. It's about the basic principle. And so we have a saying in ECM, which I like to say, it's principles before personalities. And we need to get down and get our hands dirty. And yes, we are a resilient nation, but we're also a fighting nation. And this is where we as an electorate need to come together and we need to fight with the people that's not providing the stuff that they promised us they're going to give us. And it's as simple as that.
All right. Terzel Rasmus-Williams, thanks for your time. Really appreciate you weighing in on this ongoing discussion. Terzel is with the Energy Crisis Movement. Once again, thanks very much indeed.